All right. It's been a bit on video, but we've made we did do some podcast on just the audio here on Anchor. But it's D-Boy, West Coast Uncensored, coming at you again. Glad to be here with everybody. We'll upload to some videos on different areas and different social medias. We'll add to YouTube, and definitely on Anchor, which has actually been the basic home of West Coast Uncensored and D-Boy. Glad to be here. The shout out to the last all my listeners that go deep into the whole world on the platform of Anchor. I want to thank Anchor for everything it does. For anybody who wants to join Anchor and is interested in doing any kind of work with doing any type of podcast or anything like that, Anchor is a great place to start. I've actually at least turned 2 or 3 people onto Anchor who have started podcasts because of the relationship with them and them hearing me on Anchor. So this is all good, and Anchor is really a good place to be. I'm glad to be here. Last time talking about the program, it really going over good. Numbers still climbing. Default mode numbers still climbing. I looked at all my listeners on the podcast that were in places that's called unique listeners, and I'm talking about all over Asia, all over Europe, and abroad. That there's a lot of listening going in on other countries that are listening to my podcast, people I don't know. If you want to get on the podcast and holler to me and let me know how you feel about it, I'd love to hear from some of you people that I don't know, besides the one who I do know that hit me up, that the original foundational listeners here. But I got a bunch of listeners in other countries that make up probably 10 to 12% of my listening audience is from other countries. So from the Philippines, from Iceland, to all kinds of different places, to Russia, to Poland, to Europe, to Asia, and I'm thankful for all of you who have been on here and listening. So let's get on with it real good. We've really had some good podcast and doing stuff for it's over a year now. I remember when I really transformed my podcast, which was about a year ago, and the very first one we did was lockdown orders, but did you go home? Well, we can kind of see that somewhat's changed, but hasn't changed, and how that's going for you. But I'm telling you, take your goal and take you by your horns, and you climb your mountain, and you walk up to a higher place where the effect of those outside of you can't steer you in a direction that you don't want to steer. So, and why I say that is going to be what this is going to be about today. I'm going to talk about the Ram, the Lamb, and Aries in the season that we have just entered in. If you know, in the astrological signs, we have just entered into Aries as of yesterday. Aries in the astrological sign is the Ram. Sometimes the Ram the aspects of the Ram, it's the first astrological sign in the zodiac. It's also the thing with the Ram, you are looking at definitely springtime. And why I say springtime kind of touches on when this aspect. Behold, all things become new. And if you know that aspect, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's actually even a scripture in the New Testament. That's dealing with the zodiac. That's dealing with Aries. It just is. Again, we're breaking down barriers of belief systems that were given to us for programming, to drive our mindset like a herd. That's what I'm saying. Grab your bull by the horns, which is Aries, which is the Ram, because that's what the Rams can do. There's aspects of the Ram, right? One of the aspects of the Ram is they are very, very good climbers. They are very, very good leapers. They go into high places and in minimal areas can walk and stand. They got very, very rough hooves, and they got such great balance in these high places. Think about this. Let's go metaphorically. They have such great balance in these high places. One more time, kind of think about this. They have such good balance in the high places. So when you're dealing with Aries, you're dealing with going up to a higher place. That's why the sun in the zodiac is going up. It's going to summer. It's moving up these places. It came from the death of winter. Everything died in winter, right? That's what the formula. That's why before pre-winter is fall. That's why fall, right? The leaves fall from the tree, turn yellow. It goes into winter. We're looking at winter. What, December 21st? The death of winter, old man winter, the fallout of winter. The winter brought us to death. Now the life that's coming in through this aspect of the journey of the zodiac of the sun through the zodiac 12, which the zodiac 12 are the apostles, are the 12 tribes of Israel. So this is what you start saying, are the 12 apostles, 12 the 12 zodiacs, the 12 tribes. That's what it is. Check this out. So they go high, they balance good, they walk high, very high, but they have the greatest balance in these high places. They can be on a ledge of 2 to 3 inches to 5 inches and balance superbly. This is key for us. Watch this. I'm having some water, but I'm having this with this minerals of 85. It's called Shilajit, one of the most healthiest things in the world. That within the periodic table, it itself has 85 minerals. It's made out of a resin, and you buy it and you partake of it every day. It's very healthy. It's grown by the monks in the Himalayas, in India, in that area, and they've been doing it for centuries, millennials, and they've been using it for health. It's been called the fountain of youth by the monks in the Himalayas. Really great aspect. Sip on this all day. You can take it up to 2 to 3 times a day. You'll see your energy level go. You'll see aspects of your energy, aspects of other things work in a higher performance for you, maintenance on yourself. That's called walking on the hill better, balance. But they walk in a huge balance on the ram again. We're going back to the ram, which is Aries, which is the sign we entered. It's going to the sun. Behold, all things are come new. Now you're seeing in the springtime, now you're seeing the growth of the death of winter being manifested with the rising of a new life. And you see it manifest even in the earth when you see now the fruits and vegetables and the leaves in the tree are going green and all the aspects, because behold, all things have become new. They came back. They've resurrected. You hear what I'm saying? They resurrected. That's why even in the season you see the sign, you see the resurrection, you see the thing that we call, what is it called? Istar, which is Istar, and I won't go deep into that. A very, very aspect of something else, and that would be a whole other thing of itself. But this is what the ram does. So the ram climbs high and has balance. In the aspect of ourselves, one of the things that we need to discover about ourselves and see that as you get some little bit of experience in your growth and in your walk, is that the most thing that you'll start seeing as you get understandings, as you get revelations, as you get enlightenment, is that when you get an enlightenment on a certain thing, that you usually go into an imbalance with it because it's so breathtaking and such a great awakening. You go, it blows you away, and you go back and you're like, wow, this is everything. And then as time passes, you realize you gotta settle back in, balance, the imbalance got to be made balanced. That's walking with great balance in high places. As you grow into your understanding, as you're going up the sacred self, right? And your consciousness thinking, and your consciousness reality, and your consciousness knowledge, and your consciousness experience, and just being aware, which is a great tool we've talked about in many podcasts. Guess what you get to do is learn that things will blow your wig off, as one of my friends in Washington says, will blow your wig off, right? But then, as you kind of blow your wig off, you kind of stand firm, stand in high places, and you step back in and you become balanced mindset, balanced of creativity, not balanced, not being partial, but not being impartial, but being neutral, a balanced place, a creative place of balance. If you tend to go one way or the other, you do go judgmental into the place that you go. That's a whole thing of why politics survives. It's because of judgment, because that's why you got the left aspect and you got the right aspect. That's all. Politics is about balance. That's really what the science of it is. Anything more than what we're told, it's game. They're running game to keep you in balance. Don't ever say nobody ever told you, because I'm telling you, politics was ran to keep you in balance. It's a game. And I'm here to call out that game. It's about you. Take control of your balance of yourself. Don't let those games do, because it does. You can see it outside of ourselves. Of them who don't know, they, division is because of imbalance. So we're looking to walk in higher places where there's less imbalance, because there's more balance, right? As you become a good balancer, notice the ram can really walk in high, treacherous, really rough terrain of hills and mountains, and climb so effectively and climb higher that they will rest on cliffs that only have 2 to 5 inches of area and make a home out of it, meaning they're so balanced that there's no fear aspect for them in those balancing of those high places. This is Aries. It's going, behold, everything comes new. Why? Because in the clip, in this aspect of the astrological sign and the sun's movement, it's going towards its apex, which is summer. Going to Leo, it's going to the summer, right? When it's in its highest place, which is the summer, when the days become longer and the nights become shorter for that time. And then every day, a minute more comes less and less. That's why yesterday was the perfect day of balance. Did you know that? Yesterday, on the 20th, it was a day when the day and the night were perfectly even, meaning the same hours of day to the minute to the second, and the same hours of night to the minute to the second. That's a type of balance. Hear what I'm saying? That's a type of balance. That's a horizon. That's a type of balance. So when you look at that type of balance, you need to aspect it to yourself. Metaphysical. It's about within yourself. If you listen to me and we're talking here and we're really dealing with truth and truth, we're not playing the outside of ourselves game anymore. Those who listen and are open are hearing the revelation for themselves, because this will not take you to take something outside of you, to develop something outside of you, to give power to something outside of you, whether it's people, whether it's an aspect of religion, whether it's an aspect of whatever it could be that wants power. This is, anytime you're dealing with this, it's about empowering yourself. You need to empower yourself. Hear what I'm saying? Empower yourself. It's not bad to have mentors. I'm not saying that, but a good mentor will lead you to, you have the answer, and the aspect of it is about yourself, and then all of it is understanding this stuff. Because this is where our people don't know where they're at, how they're going to get there, and where they're going, and who they are, and they wonder why they get in relationships, and they have no knowledge even about this, because some folks are just not compatible because they don't connect with you. And the incompatibility does have a lot to do with your astrological sign, because it makes sense, because it's scientific. We've been told it was pseudo by an aspect of a tradition to make you think it's pseudo, but when they deal with everything, because all you got to go do is look at the White House and look at DC and see that thing is made continually, is the whole city is created to line up with the stars. And that's a fact, not a belief system. And so this is what this is. You got to find your balance. And the ram is going higher as it's driving towards summer, right? The ram is climbing higher. Notice what I'm saying. The ram is climbing higher, and as it climbs high, its balance is sufficient to the terrain. Again, the balance is sufficient to the terrain. The key thing to walk in that place of the ram, which is Aries, which is consciousness, I'm talking about, we're going metaphysically, is that you must, hear what I'm saying, understand that balance will hold you in that place. It's about the balance. And that's what I've learned, imbalance. And then as you really learn and you're aware of yourself, you know your imbalances. You like knowing your triggers, what triggers you. I could see triggers in being imbalances really, they harmonize with each other. So it would be like this. I was telling somebody, if we're in a lockdown, and remember this aspect of being binary or being yin and yang, the opposite of it isn't being locked down. Lockdown. The opposite is being free. So anything that you have in the aspect of being, say, your trigger, your weakness, the other side of that duality, or the other side of that yin to your yang, right? The other side of you, of your weakness, is your strength. Here's a word for you. That's why I say, if your weakness, or you tend to go to sadness, there's the other side of that. Sadness is not sadness, it's gladness, would be the other aspect of it. Balance. If you're dealing with anger, the other side of it would be calmness. There may even be some other aspect I'm missing of this, because some of these are like that. So when you kind of look at this, you see what I'm saying? The reality of what is the other side. And it is a reality. That's why, man, I was talking to people, and they were really heavily on transmutation, and I file everything even if I don't understand it, because I know truth. I'm not going to... Balance isn't being closed-minded. That's a problem. I love talking to people like my sons. I like talking to those folks that are in their 30s that have some consciousness and some movement. I talked to this guy I had watched today on somebody else. His name was what was it? I had met. I forget his name. Anyways, we'll just kind of talk about that another time. His name, showing my age by not remembering, but that 30-something having the knowledge and understanding what's going on. Monique Elise, just knowing what's going on, and then I could see, okay, these young folks are having this experience of awakening and experiencing something in their knowing that they're having. This is unbelievable. This is great. So there is people, generations of people coming up that are getting it and have that experience and that connection to themselves. And why I'm saying this is, some of the tools that you learn and you experience are huge for your growth. And it's like this. If you can't eat, you don't have food, if I can feed you, I feed you. But there's an old saying that if you give somebody a fish, you'll feed them, but if you teach them how to fish, they'll never be hungry. These are the tools that, like changing your tire. If you know how to change your tire, anytime there's a flat, you have the knowledge to make the adjustment to fix the tire on the vehicle so that car can be started up again and you can be on your way traveling. And this will even go into your consciousness travel, kind of like having the balance of the ram traveling in the high place of the high mountains and the high hills, even in the wedges of in between cliffs and rocks and stones and all that which is high, which could easily be, but they trust in their balance because they are equipped with their balance. We're equipped for these type of things in our consciousness to walk there. And one of the biggest things is learning to balance yourself in those high places is to know yourself. Knowing yourself is knowing. Knowing yourself is knowing. Let me back this up, because I can be so much moving my hands that I keep popping it out of place. It's a protector, so I'm going to be spitting onto my mic, so I keep my mic clean by this little thing right here, which is cool. But I keep batting it, as you know, I can be very doing video Tai Chi, right? Glad you guys are here again, man. It's good to be on the video aspect. I've kept it going on the audio on Anchor, but I want to upload this. I really do like videos and stuff. I didn't doing it for years. But anyways, back to what we're talking about is the young people and doing the things that need to be done. Balance is so key, because you're going to find even in your car, you got reverse, you got drive, and you got neutral. Notice, we don't use neutral very much. We use drive most of the time. We use reverse second most. We don't use neutral too much until we clean our car, till we go through the wash. Notice, when you go into that neutral ground of yourself, there's a cleansing going on of you not being contaminated by the right brain thinking, overthinking, the left brain overthinking, and the left brain judgment, right brain judgment. You're going into that quiet place. Be quiet and know that you are. Hear it again. Be still and silent and know that you are. And that's why you want to go into that neutral place, because it's a non-judgment place. Why do you want to go there? Because you're climbing in higher places, which is significant, because the neutral place of that place, which you think is not doing anything, going anywhere, is where your creative aspect is. When you're out of judgment is where you create at. When you're in judgment, that's why there's a scripture that says, if you judge, you're being judged. If you judge, you're judging. If you judge, you're being judged. It's an aspect of consciousness that the judgment's coming from, that you're judging. If you're judging, that judgment's reflecting on you on the reflector. See what I mean? There's a reflection, because that aspect of the judgment's also aspect of you judging yourself, because you really are coming from a place of your triggers, your pain. That's why it's refrain. I always remember this, and I always think about this when I really kind of like listen to stuff and people talk, being a good listener and listening to anybody teaching or any knowledge. I could become very, very quiet and listen, because I understand there's a reason I got 2 ears and 1 mouth, so I should listen twice as much as I talk. And I think that's a universal deal. That's a universal law. That's why you can see. That's why you see. You got 2 ears, 2 eyes, three eyes actually, but that 1 eye can be one. The third eye, the single eye. But think about it. You want to balance yourself, making good judgment. But this is also in the aspect of the zodiac, which is going on inside of you. That's what the story is, the travels of the sun, the travels of energy that you're connected to. Going through these aspects, your birth chart is in an aspect of it. You've traveled every aspect of it through your inner self, through yourself, through your astral. There's your astral plane. Physical plane, astral plane, emotional plane, all these planes, there's planes. And you wonder why the plane that flies, it travels through the air, is called a plane, because it's traveling the plane. Hear what I'm saying? It's traveling the plane. You're traveling the plane in your excursion of your inner truth and your inner voyage. That's why you live in a body that has neutral, right, left hemisphere, temple, right and left hemisphere, and the other side of it, and I think it's Revelations 3:1, 4:1, or 5:1, it says that it talks about being opened and the seals were within, and everybody's looking for something without. They're looking for Ark of the Covenant without, when it totally tells you that those seals that are sealed up 7 times are you, the 7 aspects of yourself, of your character, of your chakras, of your energy system, working in display of your energy, and you're the boss that needs to manage that. That's what part of the consciousness things. When you start knowing better, you do better. It's one of the things that do. These are aspects that you can take notes on and use in later dates, because they will repeat itself. You will see the trigger and you will go, I'm triggered by this because that other aspect of myself that tends to put me in a submission lock or tries to submit me. Now I can reverse that hold because I have the tools. And one of the biggest tools is because you're aware of it now. The ram has balance in high places and has a rugged stance. And guess what? It doesn't go into fear because it can climb and climb because it's its nature. Your nature is to climb and climb through the Aries aspect of yourself. But there's the other side of the Aries. It also can be the young lamb or the young ram who will go run into another ram head first and bang each other in the head and just crack each other, right? Because of immaturity, because it is the first sign, it will have an immature aspect of itself at times. And you can only be your worst opponent when you become your opponent. When you start realizing the opponent of yourself is really, the man in the mirror is really the opponent is yourself, and there's aspects of yourself that you need to trigger so you can do some work on yourself, so you can learn that when it comes again, you just kind of give it a wink and a shove, and a wink and a nod, because you know that it is you that now has changed your outlook and the way you deal with it, and you take that bull by the horns, aka the ram horns, right? And a ram is a goat. A ram is a lamb. Did you know that? They're called bighorn lambs. That's the ram is the male aspect of the lamb. That's why it says, here's a thing for you. The Lamb that takes away the sins of the world is the sign of Aries. Not maybe. It is. That's where it comes from. Oh yeah, that's exactly where it comes from. I love it because we're just telling the truth. We're just putting it out there, dissecting occult knowledge, hidden knowledge that was hidden from us that, no, it's the hidden truth. That's what the revelation in the Greek does not mean the Big Bang Theory and everything's the devil and everything's going to hell and everything's going to blah, 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 all that stuff and that indoctrination and dogma. It means revealing that which was hidden. That's the meaning. That's what the word means in Greek. That's what the word revelation means. Revealing that which was hidden. So now you see. Now you're seeing. You're seeing yourself because the knowing yourself is knowing. All ancient cultures, previous, way back, put out these different types of truth, and one thing is in common from one aspect of Egypt to the one aspect of India to the one aspect of this and the one aspect of this culture was that it is within you. And if you don't see it was within you, you don't get it. Think about even in the Roman book, Roman and Greek book, because it's Roman and Greek. And knowing that, kind of think the stories would be a Roman and Greek story. The gods would even be Roman and Greek. This is breaking the tradition of man, telling it really what it is and where it comes from. Check this out. Why do you look low and why do you look high? And I'm looking at the opposite. High and low, low and high, whatever you want. The height, depth, breadth, and width, right? Why do you look all over the place? For that kingdom that you search outside of yourself, you may know how the wind blows, it's going to rain. You may know all the aspects about reading even reading the weather and reading the sky and reading all this stuff and knowing the winds coming from different directions, but you don't even discern the trigger that the kingdom of God or the understanding of this knowledge is within you. Right? Doesn't it say that? But these folks still looking outside themselves. It's just a fact. Dogma. Outside themselves. When it's in you, and that's your empowerment. That's your invest. Notice it's investment. Investment. Mental investment. It's the investment's you, man. It's you. It's every single one of you. Under my voice, everybody on this planet, it's you. But until you know it's you won't know it's you. You'll be giving away your energy and your power to something outside of you continually, because that's just the way the dealie goes until you know it's you. But when you start knowing it's you, then the work really just starts. The ups and the downs and the pressures and the knowing and seeing yourself and seeing the aspects of yourself that you may not truly like. And you might say, understand that what this aspect has played a part in you before you even knew it did. Now you can go back and look and say, man, at this time in my history, this was doing this, and now I understand it. Had no clue then. But you can make adjustments in time. This is what this awareness is, the huge tool. You got your shades on. You can see at night. Wear your sunglasses at night. You can see clearly, and you can bide your bidding to do what you need to do to raise your consciousness, raise your connection, because it's all there. Because you know what? All of it is connected to you because all is really self. We're all connected. All the divisions and divisions within divisions within divisions within divisions, just dicing and dividing and dividing. You can put it back together. Remembering all things. Taking the member of that part of yourself and attaching it to the other part of yourself and creating your life and yourself into that higher place of ability. I see the things when they attack me on certain things and on certain things. I was like, man, that certain trigger's there. That wrestling with the angel, right? Is there. Kind of until he touches your thighs and you have to change your walk. It's all metaphysical. It's really not a literal story at all. And the powerful thing is that it is that, because now it deals with you specifically and not something outside of you that you have no control over. Bingo. Now we're talking. Now it's talking real deal empowerment, and it's in you. This is, I'm just glad to be here. West Coast Uncensored, D-Boy. I usually go 25. This is past the 30-minute mark. And I'll leave it. Getting ready to cut it out and leave it at this. But what do you do to help yourself balance yourself? Think about it. Because you are starting to see your imbalances because you're becoming balanced. Think about this. I'll leave you with this. I've said this before in a podcast. There's a family called the Wallendes, and they're high wire walkers. Notice every time you see a high wire walker, they have a pole, balance. They don't walk on the wire without a pole. They have a pole here, and they'll go like this. They'll hold the pole like this. High wire walkers always have a pole because it's about balance. That's where your pole, your spinal cord, is your balance. We'll talk again. I think I'm going to do my next one will be about how important it is to balance yourself with this aspect, these three things, and we'll talk about this next time. These three aspects: meditation, deep breathing, and yoga. How this will touch your physical, your emotional, and spiritual connection of the balance of oneself. You guys have a great day. This is D-Boy from West Coast Uncensored. You guys have a great day.